Right guys, here's homework with, help with homework sheet 12. First question, a couple of fractions to deal with. Turn them top heavy. Now I'll do the first one for you. You do the same with the second one. And then because we're dividing fractions, remember we can turn that into a times as long as we turn this fraction upside down. Then if we do a wee bit of cancelling, we'll get our answer. Question 2, f of negative 2. So that basically just means that we need to put negative 2 into this formula where the m's are. So that's 2 times negative 2, bracket 3 take away negative 2 squared. So you can work all that out without a calculator. Third question, remove the brackets. Now the negative there is like a negative 1 in front. So negative 1 times x, negative 1 times negative 4 is bigger than 2 times x take away 2 times 1. Now if you rearrange it, you'll get so many x's are bigger than a number on this side, so x is. Now what you have to remember at this point, this sign here will change if you've got negative x's. And guess what? You've got negative x's, so change the sign. Question 4, change the subject. First thing I would do would be to rewrite it as a half p plus q squared equals h. Now I would want to get rid of the fraction. So how do I get rid of the fraction? By doubling everything. So if I double the left hand side, the fraction disappears and I get left with p plus q squared equals 2h. Now I'm going to leave you to finish it off from there. Question 5, well I've done a couple of these now recently. So that's 2 times root 20 is going to be root 4 times root 5 plus and so on. Now when you get to your answer in this one, you're going to have so many root 5s and you're going to have so many root 3s. Do not try and combine them. That is your answer. So many of these and so many of these. Question 6. Here we have a diagram of a projectile. First part of the question says, how long is the projectile in flight? So it takes off here at the origin, it then flies through the air and then lands down here. So how long is it in the air? That distance there. What's that distance? That's the distance between the roots. So the first question is really asking a roots question. How do you work out the roots? You put the formula negative 2x bracket x minus 10 equal to 0 and you solve it to get 2x numbers. Once you've got your 2x numbers, that should tell you the distance, the time of the flight. Part B, calculate the maximum height reach. Well, this is very, very similar to last week's question 1. We need to work out the axis of symmetry, which is x equals. How do you get that? It's halfway between these numbers over here. Once you've got the x number, all you need to do is substitute that x number into your formula up here, and that tells you the y number. Question 7. If SO made this amount of money, that was my cat you maybe heard, made this amount of money in 2005, then we need to work out how much it is every second. So if that's how much it is in 1 year, dividing by 365 is going to tell you how much money they made each day. Then by 24 for hours, then by 60 for minutes, and then another 60 for seconds, and you should get your final answer. Question 8. Now the volumes are the same. We know, or we should know, that the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h, and the question tells us that a cylinder is 1/3 pi r squared h. Okay, what do we know from the question? Well, we know that the radius of the cylinder is 8, so pi times 8 squared. We know the height is 6. We know from the question that the the cone is 1/3 pi. We don't know its radius, but we do know its height is 15. Now if you work out this side, tidy up this side, you should have r squared equals a number, so r is just going to be the square root of that number. There's quite a lot of calculator work involved there. Question 9, our trig equations. First thing I'm going to do is take the -3 over, then I'm going to take the root 5 over. That's going to leave us with tan x equals something. You can work that out. Draw your all sine tan cos diagram, tick the wee boxes that you need, write down your two answers. Should be able to do that. Now question 10, similar triangles. This is the diagram that we have. First thing you should always do with similar triangles is separate the triangles out so that you've got them side by side. Transfer the information over. This side is 5, this side is x, this side is 7, this side is x add 4, because it's x for this little part and then add the 4 for this little part. So the whole thing is x add 4. Now the method that you have, I believe, from Mrs McCaskill is to work out the scale factor and then you multiply by the scale factor. Okay, my method is slightly different. It's going to get you the same answer, but my method would be that you set up what's called corresponding ratios. So in other words, you look at the 5 and you find the side which corresponds to it, which is 7. So I would write that as 5 over 7. Now that should be the same as the scale factor you found up here. You maybe did 7 over 5, depending which way around you're doing it. Then I would find the corresponding ratio, which is x and x add 4. And then I would do a little bit of cross multiplying and my answer for x would come out. Okay, so there we are this week. Nice and quick. Hopefully it helps.